Last year we had discussed your background. You had from Boston. You'd gone to school there, and then you had moved from Georgia. What year did you move from the Boston area down to
Well,
Georgia?
it was in the early 70s probably, and I ended up, I guess, coming back to Georgia and staying in 76.
76.
So I've been there for a while now.
And you had gone to college up there, and you have a tournament up there, and still up in the Boston area.
Yeah. I went to Norwich University. It's in Vermont, and I played hockey for them, and each year I do a fundraiser for the hockey team.
Do you still do that?
Oh yeah, we still do it. Yeah.
And you played hockey as well while you were there.
Yes, I did. Well, that was actually my sport then.
Oh.
You know, I mean, golf, of course, I was in the summer I was an active golfer, but I could have come to several colleges in the South and played golf, but I would have had to give up them.
Sure.
At that time, the main sport, and so I decided I could stay up there and do both, and so that's what I did.
Well, what initially brought you to Georgia?
Well, the service. I had to do an ROTC commitment out of college.
Right.
So I ended up at Fort Gordon in Augusta. Then went to Korea for a year. Came back to Fort Gordon and been in Georgia ever since.
So you like the South. You like the environment, the living and conditions, and all that.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, at the time when I got out of the service, and I thought about going home, I got thinking about the shoveling snow and doing all that stuff, and that didn't appeal to me. Because we had done so much of it as kids. And I said, you know what, this is a nice part of the country. You know, I can stay down here since I'm not a hockey player anymore, and I can play golf year round, and that to me sounded like a pretty good deal.
Last time we were here, you had made an interesting comment to me about you felt that you were not a pedigree player. Can you give me your definition of what a pedigree player is?
Well, I just think it's a guy who's come up at a country club because his parents have been involved in the game of golf and played it and saw it as a venue that they wanted to channel their kids in, like I did mine. I had two girls that, you know,
they both play golf.
They both play golf. They both had full scholarships to college and through golf, and it's a great sport. You know, no one in our family played, so I started caddying as a kid, and then got hooked on the game. So, you know, I mean, I don't use that as a term to belittle a guy that is, or to demean a guy like me.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. You know, if I had been brought up playing junior golf and country club golf, then and had a nice swing, I'd be a pedigree player.
Well, I just want to set the record straight for all the Alan Doyle fans and all the people that know me know I'm a great Alan Doyle fan. I say that you are a pedigree player, and I will tell you why. And this is to document this. Alan, I had done a little bit of background work on your record in the past. You were the Georgia State Amateur Champion 1978, 79, 82, 87, 88, and 90. You won the Mid-Am in 84, 86, 87, 88, and 89.
I didn't play in 85. I had to go up home for a wedding.
Yeah, well, you'd have probably won that. You won the Pub Links one time in 89.
Only played in it one time.
I want to set the record straight. 1 for 1. Yeah. Hogan played once, he won once. Okay. You played in the 4-ball, you had a partner then, 82, 86, 89, and 90. You were the player of the year from 1983 to 1992, except for 89, because you didn't play in the pub or
State Am. I had a bad team, and it was in Atlanta, and I couldn't play it because I had back problems. So I didn't get in the state am or play in the mid am or any state tournament. So
well, let's make one other distinction. You won the Sonny Hanna 89, 90, 92, 94, and you beat Tiger Woods, who is the reigning junior U.S. champion, by 17 shots.
Yeah, well, that's the year I beat the field by 13 shots. I was 14 under that year. I think Justin Leonard finished second. He was one under, and so I had a lot of success at Sonny Hanna.
Well, and this brings me to my next line of questioning: is how can a 45-year-old man at the time beat Tiger? How is it possible that you could beat Tiger Woods, the junior? I mean, his length on the tee, he's longer then than he is now.
Well, no. He
wasn't.
he really was not. You know, when I say it was easy beating him, you know, in the Sunnyhan or in the Northeast, it's in the Porter Cup. They always had the elite field
Yes.
of amateur golfers, and Mickelson played in all of those. Duvall, Leonard, you name them. Any of those college kids were
Yes.
playing in those tournaments, and I beat them like a drum every year. Well, what I attribute it to, of course, I was playing great, but I had one year. Phil said to me, when you going to get up there for practice round? And I said, well, I'm going to get there whatever time it was. And sure enough, I get there and he's waiting on me because I had won it 2 or 3 times. He knew I knew the golf course. So we get to and it's a beautiful old golf course.
So my Sonny Hannon.
Greens lightning fast, just an unbelievable test of golf. And so we get to the 4th hole, which is a par 3, and it's about 190, and the green sits tilted from left to right.
Right.
And so I said, look, whatever you do here, you just aim at the flag, it'll go into the right, and you 2-putt for your par, and you get out of here.
Right.
I said, don't ever go at the pin and leave it left of the hole.
Right.
So he nods his head. Well, it turns out their schedule of events, we play 36 holes on Saturday, and we don't repair because you can't because of the size of the field.
Yes, sir.
So you play with the same group for all 36 holes, and I drew he and Jay Siegel on Saturday. So in the morning, we get a little right pin. You know, I hit first. I hit at the pin that goes into the right fringe, 25 feet below it. He kind of hits it out to the left and wants it to tumble on down right, and it kind of stops about 12 feet above the hole. So I putt up like this. I tap in, lightning fast greens. He putts to where I was, and he 2-putt for his bogey. So in the afternoon, of course they've changed the pin, but the green is still what it is. So I guess, then again I hit first. Goes 30 feet right of the hole.
Right.
He is starting that ball out a little left and trying to spin it on down. It stays up about 12 feet. I put up foot, I tap in. He putts again to where I was. 2 putts up for par. So we're going to the next tee. And I said, what did I tell you on Tuesday?
Right.
I said, don't hit that ball left of this hole, and you do it twice and you make 4 twice. Yeah. So I think I called him a big dummy. And but at a course like that, and a lot of those courses were like that. They were old-timey courses, maybe where length didn't play as much of a factor as it does now.
As management.
His management, his placing the ball, and his when I call him a big dummy, his reaction was, well, I was trying to hit it close, and and I said, well, there are only about 12 of these holes that you can try to hit it close out here. There are 6 or 8 wherever the pins are that you take par and you get out of there. Well, they're young, strong, and aggressive, and they think they can make birdie on every hole.
Yes.
So it was pretty routine at those events, that I was competing to win them.
Right.
And that those guys, when they showed up, maybe didn't appreciate the subtleties of the course, or appreciate that a guy like me could actually hit the shots, all the shots that were needed. And in fact, the year that I won by 13 and played with Tiger on the same 36 holes on Saturday, I think I shot 65, 66, and he shot 71, 73 or something. And he was almost, he said, this is blowing my mind. I don't know how you do it,
Yeah.
But so I had an advantage for sure, because I had played the courses, and then
A little course knowledge and a little bit of better management.
Yeah.
Well, tell me this now. After 1990, I didn't see anything else happening for you after 90 as far as the amateur ranks. What was going on after
after 90 was when I played. I didn't play any state golf.
Yeah.
But after 90 was when I probably the majority of my amateur tournaments. I won 2 of the center handers. After that, I won a couple of Cardinal amateurs. I won a couple of rice planters. I won a couple of. I think I won the Northeast. After that, I won the Porter Cup in '94, the year before I turned pro. I won I think I won the center hander. I finished second in the Southeast and second in the Northeast. I won the Porter Cup. I won the Cardinal. I won the rice planters. I think, and the Dogwood was the first year that was reinstated. So that was probably my best year ever.
Why did you stop playing in the Georgia things? Did they ask you to stop playing?
Oh no. They probably wished the players wished I stopped playing, which I did. No, it was a combination of things. They had some leadership changes that actually thought it was not fair that I was playing that kind of thing, and so I said, well, I wanted to really concentrate on making I made the Walker Cup in '89, the World Am in '90, and I said, well, you really got to play all those kind of national events to, and I wanted to keep making Walker Cups and World teams, and so I made the Walker Cup in '91, the World Am in '92, the Walker Cup in '93, and the World Am in '94. So,
Alan, I want to switch gears with you just a minute because we saw something this weekend was the Masters weekend. We saw a great player who didn't finish the show, on Sunday. You, on the other hand, when you got in contention, you had told me last year, that fairway can be a lonely place. And we saw that at Augusta. That fairway was a lonely place. When you're on a tight situation and the tournament is on the line, what goes on in your mind as far as, is it the mechanics? What is the running dialogue?
Well, I mean, I try to revert back to a place that I'm comfortable. When you look at the way the guys finished, and Kenny Perry specifically, I'm not so sure if I'm not 100% sure I can hit driver in that fairway on those 2 closing holes that I do. You go back to Mickelson when he lost the Open. When I played that year, I remember 18, I hit 3 wood 6 iron. He probably could have hit in 2 iron, 5 iron into that green.
Right.
Something that the disconnect between here and seeing here, the head and the hands. I think that was probably what you saw. It's amplified in major.
Yes.
He should have hit something in the fairway on both those fairways to give himself the best chance to hit it is. As you watch, you got to revert to a good place. Whenever I got to those, the drive is not unlike the drive at the club. I hit whatever shot. That's where I go to when I get in spots like that.
So you don't revert back to any mechanical thought. You have a positive visual of your success.
Yeah, and I mean it comes down to in the Open in our Open at Prudence, up in 18, it was high because it was brutal right, and I said, look, if I can't hit a hybrid in the fairway, which I've done zillions of times, then I should win.
Right. Do you think that the reason why a lot of great players not close the show is that they may have some kind of negative self-talk going on in their mind, thinking about the what ifs? If I hit it left or I hit it right.
Well, yeah, I mean that it comes into play if if you're not. I've always gone with the tack of I can do this. I've done it 1,000 times.
Well, Kenny Perry may have done it 1,000 times, but
well, as compared to saying, oh crap, oh boy, this is the I've never been here, and so again, you just have to have a will that nothing is gonna waylay you, even though that can happen. You just have to say, look at that putt on 18 that they had to win, I'd have been saying I've made 12 footers tons of times. That didn't mean I was going to make it, but it increased the chances of me making that putt. And all that I have said or all that I think in those positions, they don't guarantee me that I'll make the shot, but they increase the chances that I will.
So in other words, you're not thinking of the what ifs on the outcome. If I make this, I'm the champion. You just think of the actual putt itself.
Well, I think of the shot at hand, and if I execute it, just close to it, I have to. Then it'll come up, in that big circle, that 40-foot circle, and someone may say, well, that's a tough two putt. And I tell myself, well, I've had a lot of tough two putts. Right. And if I hit it 5 feet, someone may say, well, geez, he's 5 feet. Where I'm saying,
I made a
zillion of these putts.
Yeah.
So, just try to make a good stroke, and if you do, you reap the rewards, and if you don't, you got the next hole to play, and you try to do the same thing then.
Let me ask you, I think I remember reading somewhere a couple of years ago that you were having a couple of physical problems with your feet, and you maybe tried to lose some weight. Is that a factor out here on the professional tours, the fitness level, or was I wrong about the feet thing?
Well, no, you were right about the feet, okay. And this is a tough game to play with on bad feet.
Yeah.
But the game gets more and more. It's probably when I came out here, or when I came on tour.
10 years ago now, just like that.
You didn't go by the weight room and the exercise room and see many guys,
right?
But you do now.
Uh-huh.
So, as the money's gotten bigger, and as these guys, they always hit the ground running, because they probably had a 5-year gap in there from prior to 50.
Right.
So they got the excitement back, and they got the vim and the vigor back. And one of the things they look at is to come out here in as good a shape as they can get.
Alan, tell me about. I don't want to get too personal on this, but you must have had a terrific support group with your family. You're traveling around and everything, and away from home, I'm assuming. Can you tell me is that an important factor, is to have a support of the wife or the the significant other?
Well, it has to be. It wasn't. And I don't diminish, the support that I had, because it was great. But I didn't turn pro till the girls were in college.
I see.
So I wouldn't be gone. Now I was away at the state events, so I'd leave on a Wednesday and be back on Sunday night. And I said in my induction to the Georgia Golf Hall of Fame, that I had an advantage that maybe others didn't have, is that when I came home from those tournaments, my wife would let the girls stay up, because I'd be in at 9 or 10 o'clock, depending on how far away in the state we played. And I said I had an unfair advantage, maybe, because they never asked me when I got home what I shot. They always said, "Daddy's home, Daddy's home."
Right.
So, I could have shot 90.
Didn't matter.
It didn't matter to them. And it didn't matter to my wife, who was not a golfer.
Yeah.
It would have mattered to her a little if I was bummed out or whatever. But
yeah.
so through all those years, I guess what it allowed me to do is play to the standards that I had for myself, and not to others' standards, because you can always play any round of golf, and you can always do better.
Yes, sir.
No matter what you shoot. If you shoot the greatest round of your life, someone's probably gonna say, well, if you made that 4-foot putt, you shot a stroke better.
Yes.
Well, I did it in the PGA seniors when I shot 68 the last day, the year I won, to come from 4 or 6 back and made 9 birdies and an eagle, but I made a double bogey on the 4th hole.
Yeah.
And someone was saying, "Look what you'd have shot if you didn't make the double."
Yeah.
But what I say is, I may not have shot that if I didn't make the double.
Right.
So, I felt I always had an advantage, that I was, whether I was a Yankee in the South, so I was not totally adopted by a community or a club, or I had an aura that kept people at a distance. I again always felt that I had advantage that no one was ever quizzing me about what I shot. I had in my mind what I should do, and I worked toward that. And if I didn't achieve it that particular day, then I knew in my mind what I didn't do well, and I would practice that, and I would vow to improve. But I was my own critic.
When you were playing in your amateur events, you had stated to me last year that you were a working man. You're in the textile business. Can you tell me a little bit more? What kind of textile business, and what were you talking about?
Production management, which meant and we made yarn for carpet. So I'd go in the mill at 7 in the morning, probably get home at 7 at night, and most weeks worked a half day on Saturday. But I made sure I went out on a Wednesday evening and a Friday evening, to practice, that I would, that I got the most out of that practice, and I would spend half my time chipping and putting. And that's, I think, is what, if I spent an hour, it was half hour on chipping and putting. If I spent an hour and a half, it was 45 minutes. So I always tried to focus, on the most important part of the game,
right?
Because I figure if I didn't hit it that good, and I still chipped and putted well, that I could score well.
Right. Well, it's a fascinating statement, because there are so many myths about how to become a good player. You got to hit 500 balls a day and all that kind of crap. You've just put that myth to rest. You said you practiced just couple days a week, and yet you still had tremendous success. Can you tell us about your practice schedule during those times?
Well, it was what I said. I go out Wednesday evening
one night,
I could, and then Friday evening, and then most of the weekends I could play Saturday and Sunday. And I think you learn. I learned, for instance, that when I normally on a Saturday when I played, that first 9, I just couldn't work the ball the way I normally did, and I'd miss greens trying to work it the way I normally did and wanted to, and after a few Saturdays of that, I said, well, the ball's not turning, don't fool with it. So you learn stuff like that. You learn that you don't have to hit the ball perfect to play a real good round of golf.
Right.
So you learn things about the game and the way it's supposed to be, not supposed to be played, but the way it is played, and you kind of maybe adapt, at the time. When I tell someone, I always try to hit the ball one way, whether it's right to left or left to right. And they say, well, what do you do when you have to, to hit the shot that you don't normally hit? Well, I said, well, I'm not so sure if you ever have to. There would be times if I couldn't cut it that I wouldn't go to a right pin. I'd hit it 30 feet left, and I'd make par. And because what stuck in my mind was always the guys that maybe were similarly challenged would try to do that and make bogey. So I was actually gaining a stroke on a lot of those guys anyway.
Right.
So it was just learning stuff like that.
You seem like your mind is really focused on a lot of the management, a great course manager. You let other people beat themselves, like you talking about with Mickelson. You told the man how to play the course, and then yet he did it his own way anyway.
Well, yeah, I think that's right. I think you where I've always I seldom out birdie people, but they all out bogey me. So net, I'm on the plus side.
Yeah.
So, and that's the way I've always tried to play. I've always tried to make damn sure I didn't beat myself, and I'd let the other guy, beat himself. Seldom, and as you tell people this, kids mainly, seldom did you have to shoot 30 on the back 9 to win a golf tournament.
Yes, sir.
Because I don't think I've ever shot 30 on a back 9 to win a golf tournament.
Yes, sir.
See, but you can't shoot, but you shoot a lot more 38s trying to shoot 30s.
Yes, sir.
Than you will if you go out there and say, put me in contention on the back 9. let me just make the the solid shots.
And like you said, the fairway.
You beat yourself.
Fairway's a lonely place.
It was a lonely place.
Yeah. Well, last question, Alan, and again, I appreciate your time. I know these questions are maybe a little unorthodox, but with my audience, we want to know what's going on in the mind. You know what I mean? The last question I have for you, if you had to give advice to a young man or a young woman that's trying to get off the mini tour, there's so many great players in every club. They do well, they break the course record, but they can't get over the hump. There's so many mini tours out there with great players. What advice could you give them to help them overcome any kind of mental barrier that they're dealing with?
Well, I mean, you have to evaluate what you need to do to get where you want to get. And when I say that, that may not be a specific answer for some people, but I always tell these college kids, they want to be on tour when they're a year out of college.
Yes, sir.
You look at the history of tour players and when they develop, and they're not doing that till their late 20s or early 30s. Outside of the one or two every 10 years that are phenoms.
The Nicholson, the Woods kind of thing.
So, they try to get there so fast, they don't do the things to develop, to learn the things about the game that I don't have to be on to shoot a good score.
Right.
And to just improve every year. See, I always felt if I improved a little bit over the prior year, that to me was pretty darn big. But because, well, it's like you hear with handicaps, it's hard to go from a 2 to 1, much harder than it is to go to a 20 to a 16. So, they have to have patience. They have to be willing to work hard, and they all say they do. But if you really watched a lot of them, thinking and saying they do, I don't think equates to what they really have to do. And again, you got to be your own critic. I mean, they have people at the club patting them on the back when they shoot 3 under par. They shot in 60. Said, "You're unbelievable."
Right.
Pete, did you see what the kid shot today? I played with him, boy, and he could have shot 5 under. I'll give you a good story. Bubba Watson was a Billy Ware who built and owned Stonebridge down in Milton, Florida. Kind of took Bubba under his wing. And so Billy, I was good friends with Billy. He calls me one day and says, "Are you going to be in town? I'd like to bring a kid up to play." I don't know who it is at the time. So sure enough, he comes up. It's Bubba Watson.
Right.
And this is about 7 years ago. So we go out and play, and this is an old-timey tight golf course, and he plays pretty good. Oh, and he can kill it. Shit, he hits in 7-iron to 3 and 8-iron into 7, the par 5s. And, we get through, and we're having a drink in the Coke in the clubhouse, and he goes to the bathroom, and Billy turns and says, "What do you think of this kid? He's unbelievable." I said, "Billy, I'm 56 and he can't beat me." I said, "What I'd tell you to tell him is he better marry that chipping and putting green. He better marry it and go out there every day and not worry about bombing drivers into the to the far tee here, but getting up and down routinely." So. That was a kid, and he's done well. I think he took that to heart, not from me specifically, but probably going out there and seeing what was hurting him.
Yes, sir.
And then, practicing more and more in the short game. But you have to tell them to be patient. You have to tell them that they got to work harder, than the next guy.
Yes, sir.
But because he's probably working harder than the guy he knows, and that guy's probably working harder than the guy he knows, and so it's it's when you think, what's that old saying? When you think you practiced enough, practice another hour. That's what they have to do, and realize without putting too much pressure on themselves that not everybody gets called for this.
Well, you had told me that last year, if you think this is a lot of balls, double that up. And if you just won the club championship, don't have any illusions about coming out here, brother.
Oh, no, and that's what guys do. This certainly more so than the big tour.
Yeah.
You know, they go, oh, well, you know, I'm the club champion. I can, and everybody is telling them, one, how good they are, and that he can make it out here.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, it's not achievable for.
Did you have any input on the changes for the 5? Now there's 5 solid entries, a year-round exemption. Did you? And last year we had talked about it, and you said that they need to change it. They did. Did you think you had any input into that?
Well, I didn't. Look, I don't know. I wouldn't. I wouldn't kid myself and tell myself I did. I was vocal about it, and I felt very strongly that they were losing, you know, some potential great stories.
Like Gene Jones.
Yeah, like Gene. Well, you know, I mean, go down the list. You know, Bruce Fleischer. I mean, I was medalist in our tour school. Bruce Fleischer was second. Jim Thorpe was fourth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Fred Gibson won a tournament out of that tour school. He was one of them. Tom McGinnis won a tournament.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you say, well, we don't know about Fred Gibson and Tom McGinnis now, but they each won a golf tournament. Gene Jones hadn't won a tournament yet. So I mean, that kind of maybe I'm just trying to get it into perspective what a tour school can mean. But if you take Fleischer, Thorpe, and myself, that's 42 wins.
Yes. Yes.
Coming out of a tour school.
Yes.
So can you afford not to have a tour school?
I don't know. And give them like you said, give them a year to work on their game.
Well, and they know when they're going to play, and they got a full schedule, and I believe that's best for the tour. And I think they saw the shortcomings of what they did, and they reverted. So and I think it's going to be a plus for our tour.
Well, again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time, and I hope more luck to you throughout the year, and I'd like to try to keep in contact with you. You know what I mean? So good luck to you. Now this might end up this particular video. I'm going to do some editing on it. I'll be more than happy to send you a copy, and it may end up on local TV, may end up on YouTube, maybe end up on DVD. Would that be okay for you?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks again,
No
Al.
problem.
I talk to you soon then.
Yes, sir.
All right.